Radio Play Comics is meant to adapt the stories, mostly, of great old and forgotten comics from the past. I use voice acting and narration to abridge the work as much as possible without lessening its impact, and to bring these stories to life the best way I can. Please enjoy. Hi, I'm Nick, and welcome to the Fusion Space for Radio Play Comics, Batman and Captain America. In 1996, as a prelude to the biggest crossover ever, DC vs. Marvel, several smaller, self-contained crossovers popped up between the two companies, somewhat to reflect the universes drawing closer together, and this is referenced in the story itself. Most of these use existing and contemporary versions of the characters, some of whom even refer to their initial meetings during the event, like Green Lantern and Silver Surfer, placing the crossovers firmly in continuity. However, this one is a little different, being an Elseworlds book, which was DC's imprint of the time, which denoted that the events were separate from the main DC universe. The writer and artist Byrne had the freedom to dream up anything he liked. John is one of the best writers to go to for classic traditional superhero stories, and he is perhaps best known for writing and drawing Man of Steel, the Superman miniseries published following the Crisis in 1986, which rebooted the Superman mythos and created the modern version of the character we still know today. So this story takes place in the unique shared universe where Marvel and DC have simply always existed together, and the characters are unaware they're crossing over at all. Now, a summary. It's 1945, and Batman and Robin fight colorful rogues in Gotham City, while Captain America and Bucky punch holes in the front lines of World War II to help the Allies advance against Germany's war machine. When Captain Rogers is called back from the front to assist with a top-secret US government operation of utmost importance to the war, Steve, in his regular identity, is assigned to look into millionaire Bruce Wayne's finances for any shady dealings by serving as his bodyguard. But when he looks deeper, he finds more than he bargained for, and a new partner in Batman. And it's a good thing, for they will have to combine their strengths as well as work with each other's youthful sidekicks in order to thwart the plans of the Joker and the Red Skull. Each fiendishly dangerous on their own, can any heroic force stand against their unified villainy? To find out, let's begin. January 1945. The grim grip of winter holds the city tight in a cocoon of cold. Those who walk the midnight streets huddle deeper into heavy coats, faces turned from the wind, minds filled with the harsh news from Europe. Few, if any, lift their eyes to the brooding sky, and so deprive themselves of a sight which might raise their spirits for a moment. The bat signal shines brightly in Gotham's cloudy night. The city is Gotham, known throughout this great land as a seething matrix of crime and corruption, but known also for the legends of the ones who guard her streets, and who tonight are vigilant, as always. The sound of rubber tires on snow-slicked pavement cuts the air with a banshee wail. Even the most callow turn at the sound, eyes growing large at the sight that confronts them. The Joker mobile whips around a corner, frightening the bystanders. And if this garish sight were not alone enough to freeze the blood and make the heart beat faster, that which follows surely is. The Batmobile and several Gotham police cars are in hot pursuit.
Too close, my pointy-eared friend. But this should slow you down.
Black as the ice on these already treacherous streets, a spray of oil jets from the fleeing Jokermobile. The speeding police vehicles are transformed in an instant into careening Gotham cars. But leading the pursuit, the Batmobile has been prepared for just this contingency. The Batmobile's front opens up and deploys a countermeasure.
It's working, Batman. Those steel brushes are sweeping away the Joker's oil slick.
That's one trick beaten, Robin, but we can count on the Joker to have 1,000 more before the night is over.
That street dead ends at the docks. We've got him.
The Jokermobile screeches to a halt before the dock ends.
He's outsmarted himself this time. He's trapped.
Maybe, but I've learned from bitter experience never to underestimate the Joker. The car opens like a box, and Joker's seat pops high into the air, propelled by a giant spring.
Ta-ta, bat chumps.
He flies high and far across the night sky.
See you in the funny papers.
The Joker parachutes away over the water.
It was all a part of his plan. We never had him trapped for a second.
And he'll be long gone in the darkness before we can find a boat to get after him.
At least he left us the biggest break of the case. The Jokermobile's gotta be crammed with clues.
Don't be too sure, old chum. The Joker is a madman, but he is not a particularly careless madman. Although...
What is it, Batman?
Something that adds a layer to this case that I'd rather wasn't there. I think we'd better...
Hey, do you hear something ticking?
Get down! Batman grabs Robin and dives off the dock as the Jokermobile explodes.
They're firing again. Get to cover. Move it.
Europe, a continent torn and bloody after 6 long years of total war. War that has spawned its own brand of heroes. That thing has only one weakness. I've got to find a way to exploit it.
Cap, no. You'll be killed.
Not if I play this hand just right, Rock. Captain America leaves Sergeant Rock and his men hiding in cover, rushing out into the battlefield.
And they call me a wild man. Look at him go.
Been reading about Captain America for years. Never thought I'd see him in action.
Well, take a good look, because I don't think even he has much of a chance against that.
An enormous, treaded Nazi war wheel, 100 feet tall and bristling with guns, rolls across the blasted plain. This thing has more firepower than 100 Panzer tanks, but it's built primarily to strike at a distance. Heedless of personal peril, the Star-Spangled Warrior hurls himself within inches of the earth-shattering treads of the great machine. Once I get inside the arc of those guns, the ratsy gunners will have to poke their cowardly noses outside the armored shell if they want a shot at me. Cap hangs onto the back of the tread as it rises up around the wheel. And none of them seem too willing to try that. There, my shield is virtually indestructible. Those gears won't be able to turn with it wedged in there. True to Captain America's prediction, the massive tread locks in place. And the monstrous machine loses its ability to steer. Over we go! He jumps down as it begins to topple. The war wheel slams into the ground on its side. Frightened soldiers emerge from a hatch.
Hands over your heads, Krauts. Don't try anything funny.
Camarade! Camarade! We surrender!
They seem a lot less eager to conquer the world without their toys to protect them.
That was smooth, Cap. As smooth a piece of business as I've seen in this man's war.
Cap! Cap! Important message from G2!
Army intelligence. What the? Bucky and I have been ordered back stateside. Some kind of top secret mission. But they have all the agents they need for that kind of stuff.
Maybe they do. But me and you are just following orders in this war, Cap. And if we start questioning those orders, where will we be?
You're right, Rock. I'll go. But I'm glad I had this chance to work with you and the men of Easy Company before this show ended. Captain America and Sergeant Rock shake hands. It's men like you who are the real heroes in this war. 20 hours later, Gotham Municipal Airfield. Cap and Bucky return to America on a plane. What's the problem, pilot?
Something big going on, Cap. We've been ordered to hold our position till the priority takeoff clears the field.
Priority takeoff? What the heck is going on here? The big brass was so hot to get us here, now they make us wait?
No way to even guess what this is all about, Bucky. But just on the basis of what you say, I think we can assume it's important.
Emergency. Emergency. Priority flight has been hijacked. Repeat, priority flight has been hijacked. Ah!
Holy! Pilot, get up to that plane! The smaller, faster plane bearing Captain America and his youthful partners soon catches up with the lumbering transport.
We're gaining on them.
Not for long, Bucky. This guy just completed a transatlantic flight, remember? Even with the extra petrol tanks, our motors are running on nothing but vapors.
Then pull in as close to that big bird as you can get, Group Captain.
You can't mean to jump to that other plane, Cap. You don't even have a parachute.
And I can't take one. I'd have to wear my shield on my arm if I had a chute on my back. Steve opens a hatch on the bottom of the plane. And I'm going to need both hands free if this stunt has any hope of working. Bucky, if I mess this up, it will be up to you to try next. Captain America leaps from his plane, aiming for the hijacked one. Geronimo! Leather gauntlets find fast purchase on the smooth steel hide of the big plane. But as the ferocious winds of the slipstream buffet him, Captain America realizes he has barely begun his battle this day. A gunner opens fire on him as he hangs from the plane's guy wire. Blast! Barely begun! I have the same advantage here that I had with that Nazi war wheel. He can't swing his guns in too close without hitting this plane. A bullet hits the wire and it snaps. Bang! Uh-oh. Cap hangs on for dear life as the guy wire trails behind the plane. As if sensing Captain America's new distress, the wind seems suddenly to redouble its effort to blast him from the plane. While the human enemy sees his chance of victory dramatically increased. The gunner resumes firing at the flailing hero. Suddenly an explosion and smoke obscure the gunner's view. What an... Cap's wrist is grasped by a blue-gloved hand as Batman appears beside him, hanging on a rope ladder descending from the Batplane.
Easy there, Captain America. I've got you now.
The Batman! Night and day they are, these two, the bright, bold champion of the American dream, and the dark, mysterious avenger of Gotham. Heroes they are, and warriors, and if the uniforms they wear and the methods they use are starkly different, it is because the enemies they face have been equally disparate. Until now. Robin catches up to the hijacked plane in the Batplane.
Your arrival couldn't have been better timed, Crusader. I think I may have overreached myself just a tad that time. We all make mistakes, Captain. That's why they put erasers on the ends of pencils. What matters is how fast you make your recovery. And what you do when you have recovered. Precisely.
Batman swings in the plane's broken window by his batarang and kicks the thug.
Batman! Ooh, gun him down!
What follows can barely be called a fight.
Say there, Batman, you look like you have enough little friends to go around. Mind if I join the party? Help yourself, Captain.
The two heroes begin punching out the thieves.
Captain America!
The duo of costumed crime busters have hurled themselves into a confined space where the opposition outnumbers them by 4 to 1. Bong! Thus, if any descriptive term were to be used in this confrontation, it would not be fight. The heroes easily overwhelm them. Massacre, perhaps, but for Batman and Captain America, this is hardly a fight. Soon they are all down. I hope this motley crew isn't typical of the kind of opposition you face here in Gotham. I might find myself starting to doubt your reputation.
The war has been rough on everyone, Captain. With all the strong young men drafted into the army, even the underworld is having trouble finding soldiers.
Holy, is that who I think it is? Batman unties their captive.
Robert Oppenheimer.
Then this priority flight is connected to the Gotham Project?
You know about that, Batman?
There is precious little that happens in this town that I don't know about, Doctor. Batman's knowledge worries me a lot less than what these goons might know. We'd better get this crate back on the ground, and find out just how much of the nation's biggest secret has become public knowledge. They land the plane at Gotham's airfield.
Well, gentlemen, who wants to be the first to play canary?
We got nothing to say.
Maybe you didn't hear me.
I got...
The captured thieves begin to grin helplessly.
What the...
I was afraid of this.
What? A skin patch, an experimental method of leaking slow poison into someone's body.
Holy cow! But who'd be ruthless enough to...
Someone you know all too well, unless I miss my guess, right, Batman? Someone who fancies himself the clown prince of crime. Yes, the Joker. And this is the final confirmation of what I've been dreading for days now.
What's that, Batman?
Something that's not on your need-to-know list just yet, chum. Captain, you'll excuse us? Robin and I have important matters to attend to. As do we, Batman. Until we meet again.
Ha ha! Just see the way Robin kept looking at me, Cap? I guess he knows who's got the better partner, and the more exciting life. Or maybe not.
Bucky is left waiting outside as Cap receives a special briefing on his new mission to shadow millionaire Bruce Wayne and investigate him for any shady dealings. The top brass don't trust that someone with that much money came by it honestly, and since Bruce is financing a top-secret operation known only as the Gotham Project, which is essential to the war effort, they want to cover all their bases. When Steve asks why they don't enlist Gotham's Dark Knight detective, they respond that he's unfortunately not on the military's payroll, but Steve Rogers is. Well, I must say this is all very flattering, but quite unnecessary. I may be providing funding for the war effort, but I have no knowledge that could be of any use to this Joker person. That may be, Mr. Wayne, but we prefer to be sure. Even if you don't know anything, your life could still be at hazard. Well, all right. As long as having Private Rogers around doesn't interfere with my busy schedule. I'll try to stay out of your way as much as I can, Mr. Wayne. But in the days that follow, Steve Rogers finds that staying out of Bruce's way leads to hour upon hour of boredom. Painful to any man, but nearly intolerable to the human fighting machine that is Captain America. Steve Rogers sits and waits as Bruce attends board meetings, plays tennis, goes shopping, dates, and checks his stock ticker.
We've got to do something, Bruce. You haven't let me in on everything that's happening, but I'd hardly be worthy of being Robin if I couldn't figure out for myself that something big is going on, something that needs Batman.
Yes, Dick, and you're right. And well-meaning as he may be, Private Rogers is just in the way. The Joker's men have been busy all over Gotham.
If what I know is true, something will happen in the next 10 hours, possibly less. And with Rogers dogging my every move, I can't chase down the leads as they come up. I'm forced to wait until the Joker makes his move, and hope I can get to him before it's too late.
Well, we've been lucky on that score so far. Joker may have managed to escape us, but we've been able to foil his plans.
Have we? I wish I could be sure. This is all so much out of the Joker's usual line that I'm not convinced I can predict his movements as I normally might. Not that that is ever easy.
I suppose I could go out on my own? I've done it before, operated as Robin without Batman.
No, that would be far too dangerous. You don't have all the information I do, and I can't risk sharing it with you. Not yet.
Steve sneaks up to the window from outside at a most inopportune moment.
I'm just going to have to find a way to shed Private Rogers and keep my appointment with the Joker. Well, well, so the big brass were right.
Convinced by what he's heard that Bruce is indeed a spy, Steve trails him to Wayne Tower by riding on the back of Bruce's car and follows him inside.
What could he be after here?
Evening, O'Hara. Forgot a few papers I have to sign before tomorrow's board meeting.
Evening yourself, Mr. Wayne. Strange it is to be seeing you out at this time of night. At least without a brace of young ladies at your side, that is.
Well, all play and no work would make even me a pauper soon enough.
Bruce takes his elevator up.
Hate to do this to an innocent civilian.
Cap knocks out Doorman O'Hara.
But I need to take the most direct path past him, and he'll wake in a few hours with nothing more than a slight headache. Unfortunately, Wayne locked his private elevator at the top, and this public car only goes as high as the 75th floor.
Cap climbs the outside of the building, 75 stories up, scaling the final 5 floors to Bruce Wayne's penthouse.
That leaves 5 floors for me to climb the hard way, assuming Wayne went all the way up to his penthouse. Which he did.
Cap breaks in through the window.
All right, Wayne, I'll just relieve you of those documents. What in? I don't think so, Rogers.
Bruce vaults over his desk with a kick.
Huh. Wow, that's some spectacular move for a man in his shape.
Cap ducks it.
He moved like greased lightning. There's no way you could have anticipated my leap. Amazing. I haven't seen Wayne lift anything heavier than a martini glass, but the muscles under this cloth are hard as steel.
Bruce flips Steve as chairs and statues go flying in the tussle.
I never fought anyone with his native skill and cunning. This can't be standard GI training. He's matching me move for move.
Cap springs to his feet and they continue to fight.
Some of these moves are straight out of Aki-Jitsu and Okinawan Tea, but there are 10 people who even know those disciplines outside the Far East. This is getting close to pointless. I block every move he makes. He blocks me. He seems almost to have a slight edge, but the only man I would think who could have that would be... Of course! Who else would be sent to guard Bruce Wayne? All right, Captain. I don't think we need pursue this any further.
What? Cap halts his attack.
Oh, if it was a snake, it would have bit me. Those fighting skills plus the Wayne fortune would go a long way toward making Batman.
Bruce Wayne and Steve Rogers shake hands.
Welcome to Gotham. I can't think of a better ally against the Joker's latest scheme. Nor can I, Batman. I only hope the time I've wasted chasing the Bruce Wayne wild goose hasn't given your Harlequin friend the time he needs to finish whatever his plan might be.
The Joker is furious as his plans have gotten nowhere in the last few days, even with Batman out of town. Just then, he is contacted by his secretive partner in crime as the view screen crackles to life.
Oh, and now, just to complete my day, I suppose my mysterious little friend will want his report.
Joker, report your activities.
I've warned you about taking that tone with me, friend. I've lost several good men thanks to the unexpected interference of Captain America.
You were not doing so well against the Batman before this, Joker. However, I will confess the arrival of Captain America is troublesome to me also.
Really? And why would that be? Has there been some past occasion when you've had that big shiny shield shoved up your...
That will be enough of that, Joker. When I originally contacted you, I promised you a sumptuous reward if you merely did as I told you.
Did as you suggested, you mean? The Joker takes no man's orders. Still, I will grant that you have been useful so far. All the leads you've come up with have paid off, one way or another.
And they will continue to do so. I have now the confirmation I was awaiting. The prototype is being shipped out of Gotham tonight. With that in your possession, it will be a simple thing indeed to blackmail $1 million out of the city.
$1 million? Ah, yes, how thoroughly delightful. All those little zeros, like bullet holes in Batman's back.
The death of Batman is at best ancillary to our main plan. Do not let your eagerness to see your old foe undone cause you to become reckless. That way lie foolish mistakes.
The connection is terminated.
I know it is unwise to question the wisdom of this scheme, Mynheer, but the Joker is too volatile to be controlled. You are quite right.
Joker's partner removes a mask to reveal he is the Red Skull.
It is most unwise to question me under any circumstances.
The man gets a face full of powder.
What a pity you shall not learn from your mistake. I once told our beloved Fuhrer a dead man was of no use, while a living one could be retrained.
The man falls down dead, his face reddened and stretched into a look of agony.
However, that was in a day when the Reich had time for such small niceties. In these grim days, there is time for nothing that will not serve to accelerate to the final victory of the fatherland.
A group of soldiers transporting the secret weapon begin to laugh uncontrollably, before collapsing, their faces twisted into rictus grins by the Joker's laughing gas.
They're dead. Get their uniforms. That convoy will be along any minute.
What's the meaning of this? No one's supposed to stop this convoy no matter what.
The bridge is out up ahead. You gotta reroute.
Bridge? What the devil are you talking about, soldier? This route was specifically selected because it has no bridges or... Every way I run the information, the answer comes out the same. In the Batcave, Cap and Bucky confer with Batman and Robin. The Joker may be the most fiendish and inventive adversary I've ever had to face, but there's no way he has the kind of network necessary to supply him with the information he's clearly been using. The very fact that I found that small scrap of plutonium in the Joker-mobile points to this simple fact. The Joker is not so stupid that he'd be driving around with radioactive material on his boots. Unless he didn't know what it was he was dealing with. You're right, Batman. Someone must be behind this scheme. And I have a sinking feeling I know who that someone might be. Yes, Hitler and his little friends abandoned their own equivalent of the Gotham Project. They decided it was unworkable. But if the Nazis have found out we have a working prototype right here in Gotham City, they'd move heaven and earth to get their hands on it, and they would not be above employing the likes of the Joker.
I still don't know what this big hush-hush project is you keep talking about, Batman, but I've never known the Joker's ego to let him work for anybody, no matter what the prize. Yeah, I hate to agree with the shrimp here, but that doesn't sound like the Joker I've been reading about.
It isn't.
The bat signal! Commissioner Gordon is calling for Batman and Robin!
I asked Gordon not to use the signal unless it was something specifically to do with the Joker. He must have struck again, but I can't leave the program running in the crime computer until it's finished. There's only one thing we can do.
Where are they?
Robin swings into Commissioner Gordon's office.
Right here, Commissioner. But Batman couldn't make it just now, so he sent in a substitute.
He is soon followed by Cap.
Good Lord! Captain America! This is a great honor, sir. I'd heard you were in Gotham, but no one could confirm it.
A pleasure to meet you, Commissioner. Your reputation has spread far beyond the Gotham City limits.
What's up, Commissioner?
I just received word from the shore patrol that one of their launches was found adrift on the lake. There were 5 men aboard, and all were dead. Dead with hideous grins on their faces.
A sure sign the Joker was involved. But why would he kill 5 guys in a shore patrol boat?
Where was the boat found drifting, Commissioner? The Commissioner points at a map.
Right here, Captain. Their normal patrol area was along this section of the lakefront.
Mind if I borrow a ruler, Commissioner? Cap draws a line on the map. If we assume a point beginning just here, outside the city limits, and extrapolate a line that leads through the area patrolled by that boat and its crew, we end up with a clear path all the way to Washington, D.C.
But why start your line out there, Cap? There's nothing but woods and swampland.
Nothing that is officially acknowledged, Robin, and nothing I can freely discuss, even with you. But I think I can safely say this already rotten case just got a whole lot nastier. Meanwhile,
On the other side of the city, the Batmobile races through the empty streets.
There's a pretty hot little wagon you got here, Batman. Of course, it wouldn't last 3 seconds on a real battlefield.
You're quite right, Bucky. The Batmobile was designed and built to function in an entirely different kind of war from the one you and the Captain are fighting. For instance,
Hey, you killed the headlights. How can you steer?
like this. The Batmobile's windows are equipped with infrared scanners that make it as easy to drive in pitch black night as in brightest noon. Now, according to the information collated by the crime computer in the Batcave, there have been several instances of men and materiel moving through this area. An unusual degree of activity for an area that has been effectively shut down since the beginning of the war.
Sometimes it seems like every empty warehouse in America is being put to some rotten use.
In Gotham, to be sure, Bucky. Batman picks the padlock and they enter the warehouse. A lot of non-essential production has been curtailed by the war effort, leaving many such places standing idle. Now be careful, if this place is one of the Joker's lairs, there are likely to be alarm triggers in places a normal mind would not even think of.
I sure hope that's just paranoia on your part, Batman. I'm not used to sneaking around. Cap and me usually just beep.
When Bucky triggers the alarm, a gang of hoodlums appears from nowhere and accosts them. Get 'em!
Drat!
Looks like you get to exercise your fighting muscles after all, Bucky. Batman kicks and Bucky punches the thugs.
Where are they coming from? Joker must have half the underworld working for him.
Joker? And why would you think this was one of Joker's little lairs? Gas ejects from the floor, and the heroes are knocked out. Meanwhile, Captain America and Robin arrive at the shore patrol on a borrowed Batcycle.
No one in sight.
Which is not at all how it should be. There should be a couple of men posted here, even if...
Look!
Robin finds the shore patrol all dead from Red Skull's poison.
The Joker must be testing some new kind of Joker venom. But I don't get why he'd want to turn their faces red instead of white.
He wouldn't.
There's something going on here you're not talking about, Cap.
Yes, something G2 and British intelligence have spent a great deal of time and effort keeping out of the press. But it confirms my worst fears, Robin. The target of this scheme is almost certainly Washington, D.C. They take off again. And the Joker has allied himself with the one man who may be crazier than he is. Batman and Bucky are tied to a rack for raising cars.
Ah, my aching head. I thought I'd wake up dead.
Time enough for that later, kid.
Yes, the deaths of 2 such illustrious foes should be handled with a degree of elan.
Are you finished?
You? What in blue blazes are you doing in America?
Are you truly so dim-witted as to have not yet deduced it is my genius that is behind the Joker's latest actions? Ah, but, Herr Fledermaus, we have not been formally introduced. I know who you are, the Nazi madman who calls himself the Red Skull. In fact, it was Adolf Hitler himself who created this name and mission for me, Batman. As your own President Roosevelt ordered the creation of Captain America as a direct response to my existence. Believe what you need to get you through the day, Skull. But I must admit to being as surprised as Bucky to see you stateside. I thought you preferred to run things from behind the scenes, to let your minions do your dirty work. Ordinarily, yes, I do prefer the role of planner, of general. But this particular operation requires my special attention. As does the elimination of yourself and your young partner. Even in Germany we have heard the legends of Batman and Robin. Most especially of your uncanny ability to escape the most insidious traps. Alas, Robin would appear to be otherwise engaged, leaving only this poor substitute to die in his place. Red Skull blows smoke in Bucky's face.
Nobody's dead yet, Ratsy.
No, but it is only a matter of time, Bucky Barnes. The hoist to which you and the Batman are secured is timed to descend once my men and I have reached a safe distance. The explosion this will trigger is as nothing compared to what we intend to unleash upon Washington, but it will do the job for the two of you. Farewell, Batman. In a way, you might even consider this act a kindness. I fear you would find no happiness in the world the Third Reich will create.
The Red Skull and his men leave them to die.
These ropes are too tight for me to get out. How about you, Batman? Batman?
Stop the car.
From a distance, a skull watches the building explode.
It is done. I wonder how my American partner will feel when he learns that the Red Skull has succeeded where he has failed so many times before.
Can this be the end of the Dark Knight Detective and Captain America's stalwart sidekick? Captain America and Robin race through the streets on the Batcycle.
Something wrong, Captain?
Not sure. Just felt a chill, like somebody had stepped on my grave. I'm going to take that as a sign that we have to get to that secret airfield all the sooner.
Okay, you finally told me what the X you marked on that map meant, but according to the latest report from G2, the Joker has already snatched this fat boy thing, whatever it is. Why would he take it to the very place it was heading?
It would have been much easier to hit a moving convoy than a heavily guarded airfield, Robin. Naturally, the Joker struck the weaker target. But the Army Air Corps has taken great pains to render that base officially non-existent. It and any planes that fly into or out of it. So, ironically enough, that base is still the best place from which to get Fat Boy out of the city. Especially since an attack now would be totally unexpected. At the base, the guards begin to laugh uncontrollably.
Cut through the fence. Hurry. I do believe I hear our ride approaching.
We're through, boss.
Get to the main airfield. Hurry.
Joker and his men pass through the gate using laughing gas on all the soldiers.
Looks like this is going to time out just right.
A large experimental bomber plane fills the sky as it lands at the airfield. Geez, I never seen a plane like that one, boss.
Further proof that our little friend has money to burn. I may have to relieve him of that little toy. It will add weight to my blackmail threat if I have a delivery system.
Joker meets the large plane in a hangar.
100 fools do not make one wise man.
And heroism does not come from 100 cowards. That is the correct password, Joker.
Of course it is. Tell me, does your mysterious employer train all his people to use the same arrogant tone?
There is a forklift by the hangar, as anticipated. Get it and unload the prize package.
A large crate is loaded onto the plane.
Be careful with that, you lout. We don't want it to get mad at us. And where's your boss, anyway?
I am right here, Joker.
The Red Skull appears before the Joker.
I commend you for the efficacy with which you have accomplished your part of this mission. There were some who felt your reputation made you a bad risk.
And just what exactly is the point of that suit, fella? You're a bit late for Halloween.
You will not be able to get your $1 million in blackmail money, of course. But there are rewards awaiting you in Berlin that will make $1 million seem like a pittance. Adolf Hitler himself intends to award you Germany's highest honors.
You mean that's not just some crazy disguise? I've been working with a Nazi?
But of course. Why are you so upset, Joker? From what I have read of your exploits, it seemed obvious you would make a superb Nazi.
That mask must be cutting off the oxygen to your brain. I may be a criminal lunatic, but I'm an American criminal lunatic. Keep back, boys. This creep is mine.
How unfortunate. Such misplaced patriotism.
And now you die.
The Joker and Red Skull use their gases on each other. They hack and cough, but there is no other effect.
My Joker venom. Why aren't you dead?
Blast. The formula of my dust and death and your venom are too much alike. We are each immune to our own weapons. I must resort to less flamboyant methods.
One of the Skull's thugs knocks Joker out with a wrench.
What?
Boom!
Oh!
Shall I finish him, Herr Skull? No. He is to be taken to Berlin to meet the fate that was always planned for him. To be paraded through the streets as an example of the kind of freakish monsters America has bred. Quickly now, get him stowed aboard.
He is loaded onto the plane.
This little pantomime has cost us precious minutes.
The plane takes off.
Follow the flight path. Our destination is Washington, D.C. Jawohl, mein Herr. There's another aircraft intersecting with our course, Herr Skull. It is closing on us fast. No, it cannot be!
Through the window, the Red Skull sees the Batplane giving chase, carrying all 4 heroes.
The speed you get out of this crate is very impressive, Batman.
Almost as impressive as that escape. I'm still not sure how you pulled it off.
The Red Skull is a formidable foe, Bucky, but he lacks the finesse of the Joker. My Harlequin friend would have made sure I was really unconscious. And I was not, since I knew from the first whiff that the gas he was using was not lethal, and was able to get nose plug filters out of my utility belt under the cover of my cape.
You took a chance, Batman. Suppose he just ordered his men to shoot you and Bucky.
That seemed unlikely. I guess the Skull would want to show up the Joker by killing me in some elaborate fashion. And, since I was not really unconscious, it was easy to tense my muscles so that the ropes were loose enough to slip out of once the Skull and his men were gone.
That had worked, which is one of the reasons I went for this scheme, Batman.
It's not as if we had a lot of choice here, Captain, knowing we could not reach that airfield in time, even in the Batplane.
Magnetic grapples deployed, Batman.
It just made sense to warn the airmen so they'd be protected against the Joker's gas and could fake their deaths, letting him think he was getting away with Fat Boy. I only wish we could have done as much for the soldiers who really died at the hands of the Skull and the Joker. The Batplane flies directly above the Skull's bomber plane.
Now hold on, everybody. I'm cutting power. Now!
It drops down and latches onto the larger plane.
Ching!
The heroes begin to cut a hole through the roof of the bomber plane.
The jet engines! Fire them, now!
Whoa! The jet engines fire, the bomber jumps forward, and the Batplane is knocked off.
Yike!
Batman and Captain America enter the bomber plane through the hole, while Robin and Bucky fly the Batplane.
The Batplane! Robin will handle it.
Cap swing kicks a thug while Batman socks another.
Ooh!
The Batplane is lost in a tailspin.
Robin, do something! I am! Come on, baby! You can do it!
He bonks 2 of their heads together, and Cap brings another one down with his shield. These Bundus types are almost a waste of time and energy. I'm amazed Hitler has lasted as long as he has, with this kind of scum supporting him.
It's not so much the quality as the quantity, Batman. He has a lot of scum support.
Boom!
Ah!
The Batplane pulls out of the tailspin.
She did it! We almost tore the wings off, but the Batplane pulled through.
The Skull is ducking into the bomb bay. You handle the crew. I'll take care of him. I think not, Herr Fledermaus.
Red Skull shuts the door to the room containing the bomb, labeled Fat Boy.
At this speed, we will be over Washington City in a matter of minutes.
He opens the bomb bay.
I have severed the control cables, preventing you from closing the bomb bay doors. There is nothing you can do to stop me from unleashing the power of the atom against your puny capital. Since the American government has chosen to keep this weapon a secret from the people, they will naturally assume it is some Nazi superbomb. The resultant destruction will so demoralize America that your troops will crumble before the last heroic surge of the armies of the Third Reich.
Batman punches through the door's porthole window and socks Red Skull in the face.
I think not.
Cap knocks out the pilots and grabs the bomber's controls.
Boss is lost.
Captain America has gained at least partial control of this plane, Skull. He's directing us out to sea, away from Washington.
Ha! You have still lost, Herr Fledermaus. This bomb will contaminate everything within 50 miles of ground zero. If I unleash it now, Washington will still be... Eh?
The Joker leaps atop the bomb and hits the release with a wrench.
Pang! This little firecracker isn't going anywhere, Smiley. I'm gonna smash the mechanism that lowers the bomb for dropping.
Joker! You fool! You cannot thwart me now!
The Red Skull shoots at Joker, but he ducks it.
Any time an American can't thwart a Nazi rat will be the day your pal Hitler wins Miss Congeniality.
Joker throws the wrench, knocking the Skull's gun away. The Red Skull jumps on the bomb as well to fight the Joker.
Schweinhund! Is your madness so complete you cannot see this battle is already lost? You are nothing more than a criminal clown, Joker,
while I was trained by the Fuhrer himself to be Germany's greatest warrior. Yeah? Well, I always buy American myself. Now give up, Skull, and maybe I'll let Batman put you in a nice cozy cell for the rest of the war. Never! I will...
The clamp holding the bomb gives way.
Ching! Ah! Nine!
The bomb falls out over the ocean, taking the Joker and the Red Skull down with it.
Ah!
Captain, we have a problem. Maybe not. The incredible speed of this Nazi warbird has carried us way out over the Atlantic. But the sheer force of those jets makes the plane want to go in a straight line. And what we need to do right now is climb. Let me help. Batman sits in the co-pilot seat, and they both pull back on the controls. Feels like this joystick is starting to bend. But the nose is rising. Only a little, but we did it! The plane turns upwards and rises quickly higher into the sky, propelled by its jet engines. And just in time. The bomb explodes in a huge mushroom cloud behind them as the bomber flies away. The plane is shaken by the blast. Hang on, Batman, and pray the engineering skills of the Third Reich are all they're cracked up to be. She's leveling out. I think we're okay. Yes, control services are answering. I can handle her alone now, Batman.
Do you read? Repeat. This is Robin and Bucky calling on all frequencies. Batman, do you read?
Loud and clear, old chum. Where are you?
We're on a road about 3 miles outside Washington. I thought it might be best to land the Batplane after what she'd been through. But where are you guys? And what was that hellacious light?
The dawn of a new age, Bucky. A wondrous, terrible new age. But at least we've seen the last of the Joker and the Red Skull. You don't really believe that, do you? The bomber turns around to return to America. No, Captain. I'm afraid I don't. Epilogue. The North Atlantic. 20 years later. Dick Grayson as Batman and Bruce Wayne Jr. as Robin search the ocean in the Bat submarine. Looks like Joker Jr. has given us the slip this time, Bruce.
I'm afraid you're right, Dick, but
What is it, Bruce?
sonar is picking up a weird cavitation in that ice floe dead ahead. It almost reads like something biological trapped in the ice. Could be a little surprised Joker Jr. left for us.
Let's play along for a bit, but be ready for anything. They bring the large block of ice inside the sub. It's a man, all right.
Dick, according to these readings, he's still alive.
He's more than that. Look.
It can't be.
And yet, it must be. The shield? This mask with the proud letter A upon it?
Dick, he's coming round.
Bucky, no! Cap, no, easy.
You're among friends.
What? Batman and Robin? Yes and no, Captain. I'm Dick Grayson. I took over when Bruce retired a few years back.
And I'm Bruce Wayne Jr., the son of the original Batman.
Back in the Batcave, old friends are reunited. And that's the whole story, as near as we can figure it, Cap. You disappeared just before the end of the war. Somehow you must have been frozen in that ice since then. It's incredible. It's more than that, sir, if I may be so bold. It is Providence, Master Stephen, that you should be returned to us now, just when the world has need of such a man as you. Hear, hear. Welcome back, Captain America. Special thanks to rascally Roger Stern for suggesting this epilogue. John Byrne. The end. That little ending postscript is meant to tie into, and may have even inspired, John Byrne's Generations, a series of Elseworlds books published a few years later, starting in 1999, which would follow Superman and Batman through the decades as if they aged normally, and the versions of Dick Grayson and Bruce Wayne Jr. we just saw feature in those books. Generations is not set in a shared universe with any Marvel characters, though, but other than that, John did them in the exact same style as this, and if you enjoyed this story, it's a very safe bet to say you'd enjoy Generations as well. The first two 4-issue series are very good, but the third one was a bit much for me as a 12-issue maxi series. Still fun, just a bit more unnecessary. The first tells the story of two superhero dynasties in 10-year jumps,
and the second series retreads those years, telling stories set at half intervals from the first, and showing us many more other characters besides Superman and Batman in the universe. The third series shows us a very poorly planned alien army invading Earth, but every time they lose, they travel back in time 100 years and try again, but with fewer troops and resources. Suffice it to say, by the time they reach their 10th or so try, there really isn't much of them left. As I said, it's a competent enough story, but the main story is really in those first two series, and they really mesh well together to tell one big story. And speaking of stories, I certainly hope you've enjoyed this story. It's one of the most classic Elseworlds ever published, one of the best DC Marvel crossovers ever published, and some of John Byrne's finest work. And it's obviously a love letter to the time period, and those old comics, especially the work of Dick Sprang, and you can find his name as well as a few others hidden in the scenery in the book. Well, that'll do it for this episode of Radio Play Comics. Be sure to come back next time for another adventure into the imagination. And as always, thanks for watching.